You know what's awesome? Finding gold.
This video is going to teach you how to find gold with a metal detector.
That's right. I forgot to mention that at the beginning. All the cool kids use metal detectors to find their gold.
This is about 10 years of finds of gold, and this is pretty much it, other than like some scrap gold that I have, like little necklaces and such. I can't part with any of it. I have given a bunch of it back when I find something significant, and I could find the person. But for the most part, this is 10 years right here.
I'm going to make some general statements which should be helpful for finding gold, but then I'm going to let the pieces talk for themselves. I'm going to tell you the story. I'm going to pick a few, not all of them, of course, and tell you the scenario in which I found it. But whoa, 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 slow your roll. You need to do something for me first. Two things. One, hit that like button. I'm tired of fake channels that plant their stuff getting like 40,000 likes, and basically I'm getting buried in YouTube because of it. So hit that like, it really helps me. Do that for other channels that genuinely dig. Two, we're going to make a deal. If you find the information useful, you're going to hit that subscribe button and the bell. The bell really helps. So anywho, let's get talking about gold.
General statement number one. The vast majority of the gold that you see right here was found at the beach.
I have a question for you. Have you ever been in a swimming pool?
Well, yes, I have.
Do you see what happens to your fingers when you go swimming?
Yeah, they get all wrinkly.
That's right. They get wrinkly and essentially shrink, and rings fall off. I would say the most common gold item that you find at a beach is a ring.
For whatever reason, I have also noticed a lot of chain breakage during swimming.
What could wind up happening with the chains is that if you drop it, your chain breaks when you're on land. You could usually zero in on the point where you drop it, and it stays on the surface for a long period of time before it sinks down. On the beach, you don't have that luxury. So if a chain breaks, it's going to end up in a detectorist scoop one way or another.
But let's stay on topic with this. I'll go as far as say the vast majority of all of this gold has been found at the beach.
Okay, let's move on to general tip number 2. And that is, be aware of the volume versus carrying capacity equation. What? The most massive beach by me that is almost always inhabited by tons and tons and tons of people has a lot of detectorists that go there, and we're very efficient. Humans are creatures of habit and comfort, and that can royally backfire for you as a metal detectorist. New York, people don't think of it like this. It's actually a group of islands, and we have tons and tons of beaches. And I'm really able to go around to all of these different beaches. But what happens if I get comfortable at one? Do I stay at that one? That's a big mistake.
Which leads us to the story of this ring. And this was found this year, and it is heavy. I use it for weightlifting now. But basically, this was found at a beach that people really don't go to anymore. But just because they don't go to it in present day does not mean that that shoreline was never popular.
I know people who are inland must be like,
Hey, enough beach tips. We want to find gold too.
but that doesn't mean that you don't have beaches. Look up old swimming holes. Some of my best finds have been in old swimming holes.
This beast of a ring was found in a lake, one that is very overlooked by locals because nowadays we don't swim in lakes as much, or at least in New York City. But people did. Just because it doesn't happen now doesn't mean that it didn't happen back in the day.
And that leads us to my next suggestion. get a good waterproof metal detector. And here's the controversial part. Everybody loves Bluetooth nowadays. I'm not too crazy about Bluetooth. Get a wire connection to that detector. I'll explain why.
You know, a lot of people are probably like, oh, I don't know if I want to drop $500, $600 on a metal detector. I want you to think about that statement. I really want you to think about that statement. Okay, this is actually the one that I would recommend for an absolute beginner nowadays. It is without the headphones. You do want the headphones. It's in the $400 price range. It's $509 with the Bluetooth headphones. But anyway, the headphones are kind of what I wanted to talk to you about. When you submerge this, you compromise the Bluetooth signal. And the best underwater metal detector that I've ever had is actually the White's Beach Hunter 300, which has a tethered headphone connected by a wire that just connects to the device. Now, here's the thing. Think about it. You're limited to waist deep with Bluetooth, with many devices, with many detectors. And if you have something that plugs into the back, and yes, you have to make sure that that is a very secure connection, otherwise it will flood. You could go deeper with that. You could go almost neck deep. Of course, you could also scuba, and that would solve everything.
And yes, there are wired headphones for this device. Let's take a line from Star Trek. You want to go where no man or woman has gone before.
I found this bad boy pretty far out in the water. Hi, Leo.
And that leads us to our next tip. Let's state the obvious here, like dig midtones. How could I leave that one out of the video? Dig midtones.
And I will add to it, and this is real, dig low tones also. This was a 1 on the Minelab Equinox. I'll never forget this one. And, you know, you always have the risk of this being aluminum foil, but when you're down at the shoreline in the area where the waves are moving very fast, it's probably not going to be aluminum foil. If you get a consistent reading, you're going to dig it. That's important.
This is important. Let me throw this out here. On any one of these signals, I can inference that this might be a valuable item that I am about to uncover from the earth. But I don't know for sure. Do you have any clue how much garbage I dig? There are so many times that I am hopeful that it's a great signal, but I don't know. No detectorist knows for sure what they're digging. They can only infer. But when you want gold, as I'm sure you do if you're watching this video, you put up with the garbage. You don't dig gold without digging a ton of garbage. But this may help you with your choices, with your inference. I weigh heavily on dirt and even in the beach. I weigh heavily areas where people put their bags down. That is a top area to find gold. I want you to think about this. People are aware that when you go swimming, you lose rings. People know that. People are wise nowadays. But people don't want to be away from their wedding rings, especially in hotel rooms. It's the choice, like, do I keep it in the hotel room if I have nothing to lock it up in, or do I bring it with me wherever I go? And I've been on so many calls for lost rings that happen in the dry area of the sand or in parks. And it's usually in places where people put their bags down or their coats. Coats also. You put stuff there, it falls out.
This is an example of dirt gold, and it is 22 karat it tested. And this was found on the dirt sidelines of a baseball field, which is used for soccer and everything else. But anyway, it is something that just probably, I would guess, happened because it was put in a bag or in a pocket and it fell out Nobody noticed it. It sunk and it rang up at a mid-tone just like a nickel.
Each one of these pieces has a story and a lesson attached to it. And I want to keep the video concise, so I'm bringing up major points. But let's go over one more. I was just asked on Relics Radio what my favorite find of all time is. Well, that would have to be my GRILLZ. It says Rugga, whatever that means. And I haven't cleaned this, but it fits me perfectly. It looks awesome. But there's a story to be told with the GRILLZ. On any and every beach, there is so much gold. But we harvest the stuff that is accessible right now to the metal detector, to our metal detector.
I found this one. This is a ring from 1974, and it's 10K. And that means that there's copper in there mixed with the gold or other metals. I couldn't clean this. I just like it the way it is. Yes, I did try to reconnect it. There's just not enough information in here. And I was never able to get a hold of the person. But the point that I'm trying to make is that this was swimming around for decades in the water. The beach holds on to stuff.
It's pretty general knowledge that after a storm, you can get great stuff at the beach. Generally speaking, and on any day, you could get stuff pushed in by the waves, and you could also get stuff pulled down to the lowest levels of the beach. What does a storm do? It shakes up everything. But I'm telling you, I'm so sure of this. The beach is a great repository of wealth, of gold, of anything that's dropped, not just gold. But we are barely scratching the surface of what is available at the beach. Some of it is far out. Some of it is very low. But when we get storms, that's opportunity time. All beaches are different too, and you should really consider wave speed. Wave speed will tell you how far and fast things will get moved at the beach. As for the GRILLZ, now these, I had my metal detector with me, finding these, but they were just on the surface of the beach and in an area where you could see that waves had interacted with the sand. So it was after a big storm, and you know, it's gold, but these are hollowed out and light. So this was something that was just right there, right at the, pretty close to the high tide line on the beach. And there was another one, this little thing. Again, it's a little hollow. Focus, come on, man. Little hollow piece of gold. There we go. And you know, these were eyed. I had my metal detector with me. I found them and I looked around on those days, and I'm telling you, there's crazy days at the beach. Stuff can just be lying there on the surface, and those are the days you really want to look around. And most of the time those had to do with storms. The best days I've had at the beach were when the beach was low. And I get into that in a lot more detail in my book. And I'm going to put a book link in the video description and also as a pinned comment. I strongly recommend that you read it. And I hope that you enjoyed this video, and many more coming. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I thank you.